And for today's follow-up, Kunweena, we're still talking about the two executive decrees that were approved by the Constitution Court yesterday.
Yes, and those two executive decrees, of course, include the transfer of the debt of 1.14 trillion baht from the Bank of Thailand, from the government to the Bank of Thailand, and also a 350 billion baht approved for the flood management project.
And that's right. And this would allow the government to raise its debt ceiling and borrow more money to fund the many projects that would need to be done this year.
Yes.
So we're seeing at the government house from yesterday to today that a lot of supporters and the opposing side, and they would be sharing or just being in disagreement with the government.
Well, in a related issue, the joint session of Thailand's parliament will spend a total of 25 hours debating the amendments to the current 2007 constitution as sought by the ruling Pheu Thai party and partners of its coalition government. There are now 3 separate bills to amend the charter as proposed by the Yingluck cabinet, the coalition government, and Chat Pathana party, a key partner of the coalition government. The joint session of the House of Representatives and the Senate will debate the bills to first amend Article 291 of the Constitution to pave the way for the setup of the Charter Drafting Assembly. The Assembly will be responsible for the contents of the new charter, which will replace the current 2007 charter. Government MPs, opposition MPs, and senators will get the same time quota of 8 hours each in debating the pros and cons of the 3 bills today and tomorrow. The government needs at least 325 votes out of the joint session's 350 members to approve one of the bills to change the charter. With a combined 300 government MPs, the Pheu Thai party needs at least another 25 senators to pass the bills. Meanwhile, leaders of the People's Alliance for Democracy, or PAD, said they will stage a rally on March the 10th to oppose the charter amendments, which they say will be tantamount to a constitutional coup to whitewash fugitive ex-Premier Thaksin Shinawatra. The latest NIDA poll also shows that 58.4% of respondents are against the current movement to amend the charter, as they believe it will benefit only certain groups of people. Another 45.1% of respondents said the charter amendment must be participated by a very wide range of people from all walks of life.
But the charter issue is of the local politics indeed, and we're still seeing how this would come out. Will the ex-Premier Thaksin be washed cleaned with the change of the constitution or not? And coming back to our original topic, the government has won a major battle at the Constitution Court yesterday over its 2 executive decrees designed to raise a massive debt to tackle the floods. The 9-member court unanimously ruled that the decree earmarking 350 billion baht to finance the flood control projects was constitutional. Through the decree on the 1.14 trillion baht debt management won 7 votes. In order to approve or veto a decree, at least 6 votes are needed. The 2 decrees were put under judicial review at the request of Democrat Party and senators who argued that the government had no justification to bypass the normal legislative process by enacting a decree instead of through Parliament. The court ruled that the executive decree on the 350 billion baht spending plan was designed to tackle the crisis and ensure economic security, which met the requirements of the Article 184, Paragraph 1. The government would need to complete its loan arrangements before June 2013. As part of the arrangements, the Finance Ministry would also need to present its spending plan justifying the loans to Parliament for scrutiny within 60 days. The 350 billion baht loans will comprise of 17 billion baht for short-term control measures in the Chao Phraya River Basin, 300 billion baht for long-term projects, and 40 billion baht for flood control in other river basins. As for the decree transferring the 1.14 trillion baht debt incurred by the Financial Institution Development Fund, or FIDF, during the 1997 financial crisis, The court concurred with the government's argument that the debt was a burden and took focus away from flood control. Over the past 15 years, the FIDF debt cost the country about 67 billion baht in annual interest, and successive governments have only been able to pay 15% of the loan. Under the debt management plan, the Bank of Thailand would assume responsibility and complete repayment within 26 years. This would make at least 60 billion baht available for the government to improve its water management and ensure a stronger economic future. At present, servicing the FIDF loans amounts to about 60% of the government's investment outlay.
The People's Alliance for Democracy, known as the Yellow Shirts, has threatened a street rally against Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra over plans to change the constitution. The group known as the Yellow Shirts plans to meet March 10th to consider a protest against Prime Minister Yingluck Shinawatra. He said in a statement on the website of ASTV Manager Online, a media outlet controlled by one of its leaders. The amendment of the Constitution aims to acquit the criminal Thaksin Shinawatra, former Thai Prime Minister, and his cronies, the group said in the statement. The group added that the Constitution amendment also aims to consolidate power among their group and will only benefit the politicians, not the public, who are suffering from the higher cost of living. The protest threat may revive political turmoil that has led to street battles which have killed more than 100 people since the military ousted Thaksin in 2006 and appointed a panel to draft a new constitution. Earlier this month, Yingluck's Pheu Thai party submitted a proposal to overhaul the constitution to give more power to politicians. The People's Alliance for Democracy, whose members have worn yellow in the past to show allegiance to the king, will use the March 10th meeting to prepare for the rally, it said. Sonthi Limthongkul, a leader of the group last month, called for a military coup to stop Thaksin's allies.
Although we see some oppositions here by the government's move yesterday, the international market seems to think otherwise. Bloomberg Markets ranked Thailand in the second place after China among the world's best emerging markets for investors. As of yesterday, Thailand's $303 billion stock market accounts for just 0.6% of the market value of world equities. The Bloomberg Markets ranking looks at a series of measures such as market transparency and prospects of growth over the next 4 years. As of 2011, its gross domestic product per capita was a mere $5,281, less than half of the Mexico's. So far, Thailand has developed successful electronics and auto industries that it now produces from 35 to 40% of all computer hard disk drives, and in 2010 built more light trucks than Japan. In agriculture, besides being the world's biggest rice exporter, Thailand ranks #1 in rubber and #2 in sugar. The country has consistently been one of the world's top 20 tourism destinations, attracting more visitors in 2010 than Greece. Thai Union Frozen Products owns the chicken of the Sea brand in the U.S., and John West in Europe is the world's #1 producer of canned tuna. In the fourth quarter of 2011, despite the devastating floods, the SET index jumped 12% to become the world's 4th best performer. It has risen a further 11% this year as of February the 22nd.
And now to the topic that's been recently in the media attention, that is the Bangkok bombing. And it said here, Iran said it is ready to help identify those behind a series of bomb blasts in Thailand this month, in which several Iranians have been implicated. Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ramin Mehmanpasrast said Iran stands ready to identify those responsible for the explosions and to present them to the international community in a sign of our good faith, according to the IRNA news agency. He added that Israeli accusations of Tehran being behind the February 14 explosions in Bangkok were bereft of all truth, and that such allegations were a scenario put out by U.S. and Israeli officials. So far, Thai authorities issued arrest warrants for 5 Iranian suspects involved in the blast, which were described as an alleged plot to kill Israeli diplomats. An Iranian woman who rented the Bangkok house where an unintended explosion revealed a bomb cache used by the suspects is thought to have fled back to Iran. Thai police have said Israeli diplomats were the intended target of the plot, drawing links to bomb assassination attempts against Israeli diplomats in India and Georgia. Tehran has rejected the accusations.
So there are a total of 6 suspects now that are seen by the police reports, and as well as we've seen the sticker and spray paint signs along the roads of Bangkok, signifying the targeting of diplomats of Israel.
Their roots.
Yes, and we're still not really sure whether that's true or not. But let's update on another local issue for today. The Yingluck cabinet has further extended the diesel oil tax exemption to the end of March to avoid the hefty rise in the price of this crucial oil product, which will affect the cost of living, production, and as well as transportation. Shortly after winning the July 3, 2011 election, the Pheu Thai-led government slashed the diesel oil tax from over 5 baht per liter to 0.001 baht, resulting in a monthly loss of nearly 10 billion baht in tax revenue. Since the start of this year, the government has been trying to reintroduce the tax, but this will lead to higher retail price for diesel, which is already nearly 32 baht per liter. Energy experts warn that the global oil price could surge as high as $190 per barrel this year, driving up domestic fuel price to 35 baht per liter of diesel and 45 for petrol. Manoon Siriwan, president of Business Management Consultant, said yesterday that the global oil price could hit $180 to $190 per barrel in the worst-case scenario of Israeli attack Iran. Capturing the price in the world market could reach $130 per barrel in distant future. Manoon noted that if tensions did not rise further, the price should swing back to $110 per barrel in the short term, and as China and India will continue to import fuel from the Middle Eastern country while it is isolated by the West. Pailin Chuchot Thawon, President and Chief Executive Officer of PTT, anticipates that the global oil price will soon reach $110 because of the psychological impact of the conflict with Iran led by the United States. However, he said the price should not rise unduly, as Saudi Arabia recently announced that it would increase its production and supply to the world market.
The cabinet agreed to extend the government's program to buy an unlimited amount of unmilled rice at above market prices until September 15th, said Paktihan Himat Thongkam, a deputy government spokesman. The government will buy unmilled white rice at 15,000 baht per metric ton. Thailand's Farm Ministry expects production from the nation's second rice crop to be about 11.1 million tons, Paktihan said. The extension of the rice pledging scheme is due to the floods last year, which have disrupted production and delayed the farmers' participation in the scheme. Thai rice prices, the benchmark for Asia, has gained 0.4% as a stronger baht made the grain more expensive for foreign buyers, according to the Thai Rice Exporters Association. The price of 100% grade B white rice climbed to $565 a metric ton from $563 a ton on February 15, said Pisanu Sangyu, an official at the association. The price reached a 3-year high of $663 a ton on November 16 because of a Thai government price support policy. The price of 25% broken rice gained to $544 a ton from $542 a ton a week earlier, he said. The Exporters Association holds a meeting every week to set prices.